Falls are the leading cause of injury death in adults over the age of 65. When you're a lot older, you're a lot more susceptible to falling down than a younger person would be, and there's two reasons for this. The first reason is that you have a higher chance of conditions like heart attack or stroke that would cause you to fall down suddenly, and also you have a higher chances of having muscle and bone conditions that change the way that you walk, and then as a result, you're a lot more likely to fall down, especially in different terrains. The fall itself is very traumatizing and difficult and painful, but it's even more difficult when you fall down and you don't have any way to get back up or get the help that you need. Our team has determined that there's a very huge lack of viable and effective solutions to help provide immediate assistance to the victims of falls. And so the question that we were looking at is that is there any way to use machine learning and artificial intelligence to detect falls in real time and alert caregivers and emergency authorities to facilitate a quick and effective response that can get these individuals the help that they need immediately?
Our training data is the SysFall dataset, which consists of 19 different ADLs and 15 different types of falls with over 5,000 samples. It has been sampled at 200 Hz, recorded by young and old people using a sensor module attached to the waist. We also have two sets of unseen data. The first is our own phone collected data, which has been collected on an iPhone using the Sensor Logger app. We were managed to collect about 100 samples consisting of both fall and ADL samples. The second set is the MobiFall and the MobiAct data sets, which have been similar to our own data, been recorded using the Samsung Galaxy phone, consisting of over 4,000 ADL samples and over 700 fall samples. Data can be collected using various ways. The two most common are the mobile phone and the Raspberry Pi with a sensor module extension. We will now show an animation for the audience to better help understand our data processing pipeline. So data is stored in its raw form in CSV files with the X, Y, and Z directional components. We extract graph, frequency, time domain features such as mean, median, mode, jerk, standard deviation, etc. This is done over a window of 2 seconds with a 1 second overlap, keeping in mind that the data must be able to extract temporal dependencies. Our compiled data looks like this with over 56 features. It is to be noted that we have either shortened or split all the samples into 15 seconds to obtain 56 features and 14 windows per sample for both fall and ADL. Thank you.
Our model is a combination of a CNN, a convolutional neural network, and also an LSTM, or a long short-term memory network in sequence. And what this does is that it's able to take the strengths of both of these different kinds of models, and together it can efficiently process and analyze complex temporal sensor data. After our data preprocessing is done, the model takes in a 3D tensor, and this data gets passed through 3 different CNN layers, and they're each increasing in complexity to detect more and more intricate features. So the first one has 64 filters, second layer has 128 filters, and the final layer has 256 filters. Each layer, after the layer itself is done, it's followed by a value activation function, and it does a max pooling size of 2. After all of this is done, after the 3 CNN layers are done, the output it gets passed onto 2 LSTM layers, and they each have 100 units. And after all of this is done, the output of the LSTM layers, it's sent to a dense layer with 100 units and a value activation function, a dropout layer of 0.5, and the output layer is just 1 unit with a sigmoid activation function to produce a correct output and determine whether or not a fall was detected.
Next, we will provide a short demonstration of how we record our data and then also how our model predicts this data and the results that we received. So we use the Sensor Logger app to record 2 different test examples. The first is just a regular ADL of walking, and then the second is a fall caused by a trip while walking. Then we took this data and exported it into the Google Drive so that we could go forward with the prediction. So now that we have collected and exported our data to the drive, we can now run it through our code and see how it performs. So here I'll just process the data, and then we can just get it all ready, load our model in, and then do our predictions. And as you can see, we correctly predicted both the fall and the no fall.
Our model was evaluated on 3 data sets with previously unseen data. The accuracy achieved on sysvol was 99.2%, on our phone data was 80.4%, and on the Mobiac dataset was 92.7%. Another thing noticed while evaluating the metrics was that for our phone data, specificity was higher than the sensitivity, whereas for our Mobiac dataset, the ratio was the other way around. Qualitative results were evaluated on the Mobiac dataset, as it contained a wide range of actions totally unseen to the model. From a Kruskal-Wallis test, a significant relationship was found between the accuracy and the action performed, and it was identified that type 1 errors primarily came from the action of sitting in a car or sitting in a chair. These two actions contribute to dropping our specificity, as fall detection would likely trigger when a subject is taking a seat. In addition to that, difference in mean accuracy across test subjects were also evaluated, with no significant relationship found.
The final step of our project was to work on a real-world implementation of our model, which we attempted to do in two ways. We created an Android Smart application and a Raspberry Pi wearable device. So the Android Smart application obtains sensor data and logs it in 15-second windows, which are then passed to the model, and the UI is updated based on the model's response of fall or no fall. For the Raspberry Pi wearable device, it is a belt-mounted sensor device made on a Raspberry Pi that logs data at 200 hertz in a rolling 14-second window. Then it passes that through our model, and if the fall is predicted, it sends a SMS to a selected phone number. However, due to hardware and time constraints, we weren't able to fully complete and test the device.